This is the RPG Crawler, and welcome to another RPG News Roundup, this time for October 19th, 2024, where each week I take a look back at the week in tabletop, computer, and console role-playing game news and bring you the highlights. As always, I'll start with computer and console role-playing game news. Wayfinder Echoes is set to launch on October 21st. It'll hit the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X/S, and is basically a full reworking of Wayfinder. Originally a free-to-play action RPG, it's now a single-player purchase co-op action RPG. Broken Alliance is set to enter early access on October 24th. It'll be a sort of Heroes of Might and Magic style strategy RPG, so there is that. Heistgeist is set to release on November 11th, set in a fictional world in a fictional version of Central Europe. In the near future, it has you playing a thief on the run after being double-crossed during a heist. Goblin Slayer, another adventure, Nightmare Feast, is set to get its Western release, but it has been pushed back to November 15th. It will release on the Switch. VED is set to release on November as well. It is a story-driven RPG that has been in development for 12 years. It'll target the PlayStation and Xbox consoles, the Nintendo Switch, as well as the PC. Swordhaven Iron Conspiracy is set to enter early access in December of this year. It'll be a classic party-based RPG where you explore, uncover mysterious artifacts, and unravel a conspiracy that threatens the world. There is a demo available. Darkest Dungeon 2 is getting its second DLC sometime around the end of this year. Inhuman Bondage will add a new hero as well as a mini-region. The new hero is actually, I believe, the Abomination, which is a returning hero from Darkest Dungeon 1. A new DLC for Songs of Conquest was announced. Veneer is set to release sometime this winter and will add a new faction and biome as well as new units and wielders inspired by Viking and Scandinavian folklore. Hidden Path has been set for February 4th of this year, a tactical turn-based RPG inspired by such things as Divinity Original Sin. It'll feature arena-like combat with a grid system where you play a team of skyfaring heroes in a world of techno-magical devices. The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2 is set to release on February 14th of next year, another entry in the long-running Legend of Heroes Trails series. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, the next entry, I don't know if it's a mainline entry or a spin-off entry, but it's in the Like a Dragon series, is set for release on February 21st of next year. It's going to have Majima as a pirate. Yeah, okay. Nitro Gen Omega, an anime-inspired sandbox tactical RPG featuring mech battles in a world of procedurally generated characters, is set for release sometime next year. Dunebound Tactics was announced, although no release date is set yet. It will be a roguelike tactical RPG set in a post-apocalyptic fantasy realm where you lead a group of survivors across the desert. As far as actual releases go, not a full release, but Conan Exiles got its Age of Heroes update, which is a major update. It looks like it includes new quests, new companions, upgrades to the settlement building system, and so forth. Drova Forsaken Kin was released. It is a grim action RPG based on Celtic mythology. Zoria Age of Shattering got a DLC. The Ancestors Weapon Pack offers some new weapons. Then there's Passageway of the Ancients, inspired by classic CRPGs from the 90s and early 2000s. It is a party-based tactical RPG where you explore the galaxy's sole remaining magical planet. A Hero's Rest is a RPG town simulator, exactly what it says on the tin, a city builder with RPG elements where you build shops, make items, and basically build the base for the heroes to adventure from. Gnome Online is a sandbox MMORPG with a PvP focus, if you're still looking for stuff like that. Brave and Desire is a party-based roguelite where you pick routes through dungeons trying to reach the deepest depths. Finally, there is Shadowed, the Demon Castle of Ui. It is a traditional roguelike in early access where you play a ninja. With that, let's move on to tabletop RPG news. It looks like Wizard of the Coast has added the Grey Hawk setting to the acceptable setting for the DM's Guild. Due to its inclusion in the Dungeon Master's Guide for the 2024 material. It also looks like Chris Perkins will no longer be product lead for any more upcoming D&D books, at least official ones. He is still slated to work with various Dungeons & Dragons marketing and other materials, so it's not like he's out of WotC, it's just he's not going to be integral to the books anymore. Then it looks like fighting fantasy game books are going to get a proper publishing release in the United States shelves via Steve Jackson Games. Amusingly, the fighting fantasy series is done by Sir Ian Livingstone and a different Steve Jackson, and has been available in other markets, but it has been out of print for something like 20 years now in the United States, so that'll be interesting, especially since a lot of them have been available on computer with in various formats now, so it's good to see the classic, paper and ink books out now again. Anyway, apparently Free League is going to be launching a Kickstarter for 2 new Vaesen books pretty soon. It looks like there will be Mythic Carpathia, a new source book, as well as City of Nightmares, a new campaign. I will cover the Kickstarters when they actually launch. Onwards towards minor and PDF releases, Play with Class, the Fromageomancer is a class for Pathfinder and Starfinder based on cheese magic. Grim Press once more has a few entries into their Cavern Crawl series, a 5th edition, a set of 5th edition adventures, each one a dungeon crawl. There's Cavern Crawl 57, Crimson Echoes, number 58, The Harvest Feast, and number 59, Eternal Hunger. Then Kelpstill's Tales has several entries into their side quest pack series. Each one contains 3 5th edition short side quests, and they've just got pack number 19 through pack number 24 available now. The One-Eyed Werebear, or the One-Eyed Werebook from One-Eyed Werebear, is a collection of 5 5th edition adventures from One-Eyed Werebear compiled from their previous releases. Last Journey of the Urang Maden is a 5th edition one-shot ghost story where the players play the doomed crew of a ghost ship looking to fulfill their unfinished business. Shadows of the Vale is a 5th edition offering that offers a journey to a vale high in the mountains where darkness is descending upon the land. It is a campaign that will take characters from 1st to 8th level. The Haunted Mansion is a Halloween one-shot for 5th edition where the players play trick-or-treaters venturing into an ominous house where they are transformed into the creatures they dressed up as. The First Gate, Legend of the Shroud, is another entry into the First Gate saga of 5th edition compatible material in a science fiction and fantasy world. This one includes new lore, classes, subclasses, spells, items, mechanics, and so forth, as well as a full adventure. Yeah, I am half asleep today. Ascent of the Nimipeel is a 5th edition campaign book dealing with a town suffering from an ancient plague spell where the mayor calls for the adventurers to search for the cure. The Call from the Abyss is a sword and sorcery style module for 5th edition, originally released as part of the collection The Spider God's Bride and Other Tales of Sword and Sorcery for, I believe, like the 3.x editions, so it's neat to see the conversion. Sub-Zero Shenanigans is a dungeon adventure module for 5th edition, a one-shot part of the Quick Quest series where a wizard has hired the adventurers to go into a glacier in search of a shard of pure elemental ice. Mausoleum is a Gothic 5th edition location guide which deals with a city, including various unique locations, adventure prompts, encounters, NPCs, a couple guilds, some subclasses, backgrounds, magic items, creatures, and so forth. Nord Games has a couple of 5th edition offerings. There's Ultimate Bestiary, Secrets of the Fae, which offers a number of classic Fae and fairy tale creatures. They also have Ultimate Guide to Foraging, Harvesting, and Natural Discovery, which offers a number of magic items and recipes. Terra RPG has a couple more entries into their compendiums, each of which covers a different class. There's the Rogue Compendium, Warlock Compendium, and the Sorcerer Compendium. The Sunscorched is a 5th edition player class with vampiric themes. It also covers some vampiric traditions as well as original spells. The Elut Bazaar Book 1 is a collection of 5th edition magic items, 25 in all, with a variety of mechanics and rarities. The Tomonomicon is a 5th edition collection of various eldritch tomes, their effects on sanity, various adventure hooks and quests, and so forth. The Murder Hobo is a guide to mayhem and a system-neutral resource that includes various tables for pickpocketing, bounty hunting, escaping jail, and much more. Bloody Heretics is a set of gothic horror options. It's time for level up advanced 5th edition, including some new classes, new heritages, and so forth. Territory, The Wounded Wood, is compatible with 5th edition as well as Black Flag systems from Kobold Press, and offers NPCs, locations, conflicts, treasures, and encounter tables, and so forth for forested areas. Memories of the Purple Planet is a Dungeon Crawl Classics adventure suited for level 4 characters. There we go. In the Purple Planet game setting. The Defiler of Moonsilk Keep is a Shadowdark RPG adventure where the characters face off against a cult of lycanthropes. The Undying Maiden Extended Edition is an offering for Shadowdark RPG, a full adventure in a cursed ruins, and includes a multi-level dungeon, various NPCs and factions, a couple new classes, some new gear, magic items, and more. Righteous Vow Volume 1, The Lich King of Ool, is a third-party Shadowdark supplement with an easy-to-run adventure, including a hex map, new monsters, new magic items, and old-school art. The Thing in the Valley is a BX-compatible OSR-style adventure, or rather pair of adventures, suited for characters of levels 3 to 5. Prisoners of the Crimson Crystal is an old-school Essentials-compatible adventure where the heroes are called to witness a baron's wedding when a bandit sorcerer breaks in with a horde of followers and engulfs everyone in a spell. It's got like a pixel art style in his art, too. That's neat. The Matter Hag Issue 1 is a zine designed for old-school systems, with this issue focusing on the Thief class. The Painted Wastelands is an OSR-compatible book that includes many new monsters, various detailed hexes for dungeons, various treasure, all set in a bizarre world with a sort of gonzo multi-genre feel. Populated Hexes Monthly, issue 38, is another in a long-running series of OSR-related material, this one detailing a hex inhabited by a prophetic raven and hungry giant frogs. Lazy Panda RPG once more has a couple of OSR offerings. There is Lost Grimoires, Volumes 4, I believe. There's also Volume 5 as well. that offer collections of spells, and then Ghost of the Rising Sun Volume 1, which details various Oriental and Far Eastern creatures. I believe they've also got a couple more that come out after I assembled the script, but I haven't had time to add them. Just the usual, just a bunch of stuff from them. Echoes from Fomalhaut, issue 12, is another entry into a fanzine for OSR systems. This one deals with a site-based adventure, a set of subterranean complexes, an enchanted castle, and a tower of a thief. Unseen Alchemeticals is a low-level dungeon crawl designed for Knave, 2nd edition, as well as Shadowdark. Morass of the Melting Men is another Knave-compatible adventure, this one dealing with a magical mishap that resulted in a mansion where people melt into puddles of goo. What is Under Monger Lake is another Knave 2nd edition, as well as other system-compatible offering for low-level characters, where a city has been experiencing some strange goings-on and the characters must figure it out. War Dwarf Salad is a old-school adventure available for Knave 2nd edition, where dwarves have returned to their homeland only to find a wizard school has been built in its place. The Obsidian Ziggurat is another made-for-Knave adventure. This one is a dungeon crawl where starmen descended from the heavens, landing their ships in a wasteland about 50 years ago and built a site for their strange experiments. Well, I guess 50 years ago they disappeared. Francesco Lemos has a couple OSR adventures, Caverns of the Sacred Fires, an adventure designed for Knave, the 2nd edition, featuring a 23-location dungeon. There's also Lair of the Alchemist, this one written for Cairn, and is a dungeon crawl inspired by the island of Dr. Moreau. Portals of Peril is a solo adventure for Monsters from Ken St. Andre. La Bruja for EZD6 and Wasted World is a Halloween-themed class. Meteor Tales is a medieval fantasy role-playing game featuring its own unique system. It's got its own lore, its own monsters, and so forth. It combines previously released versions of the same system, and there are several books in it. I believe each book covers a different area of it. There's Book of Heroes, Book of Masters, Book of Adventures, Book of Lore, and Book of Monsters. Sleepy Hollow is a tabletop RPG of the early 19th century folklore and is exactly what it says on the tin, covering early United States with its mysteries and superstitions. 1879 Sword Sourcebook is an expansion for the 1879 RPG covering a reptilian race native to the New World. That's the one where in Victorian era they open a portal to a new world. Yeah, okay. Achtung Cthulhu 2D20 Operation Achilles is a scenario for the aforementioned system, where the agents are sent to India to figure out what's going on with some Black Sun operatives. Renegade Game Studios has a couple of adventures for Transformers for the Essence 20 system. There is Winner's Cup and Catch a Falling Star Scream. Katana Ra is the World Book, is a new RPG system that melds cyberpunk and ancient Japanese culture to produce a world inspired by feudal Japan, except with futuristic technology. Finally, there is Warhammer 40,000 role-playing Imperium Maledictum Inquisition Player's Guide. It covers the Holy Orders of the Emperor's Inquisition and is the first part of a 2-book set. With that, we'll move on to crowdfunding campaigns. Remember that contributing to a crowdfunding campaign should be done only at your own risk. Doing so is no guarantee of even receiving a product mentioned here is not an endorsement. It is for informational purposes only. If it sounds like I'm going real quickly through this, it's because I've got a relatively brief amount of material this week. But a couple of computer and console role-playing games caught my eye this week in terms of crowdfunding campaigns. Stratagem Lost will be a tactical RPG where you command a group of renegades fighting to uncover dark conspiracies in a punk-inspired world. Former Dawn will be an 8-bit action RPG with an epic sci-fi style setting where you play a hunter of a child species of humanity. Basically, humanity went extinct, and now this child species lives on a planet, and they don't remember their origins. So you discover their origins, and yeah. Anyway, Vil Birdham looks to be a solo developed retro style action RPG with a fantasy world. It's kind of amateurish, but it looks like it's got potential. Maybe. Onwards towards tabletop campaigns, there is a Dungeon Doomhaven, or rather the print versions thereof. It's a series of one-shot or of shot glass adventures for 5th edition, as well as OSR systems. They've already been produced in PDF. Now they're looking to print them. Series or Secrets of the Drowned City will be an underwater exploration adventure for 5th edition. It'll detail with unraveling the mysteries of a forgotten civilization and finding its lost treasures. Atlantis, War of the Trident is another underwater adventure module for 5th edition. This one will include new character options, treasures, monsters, and mechanics. Unsinkable will be a 5th edition adventure with an eldritch horror theme, dealing with a 3-deck ship that can serve as a one-shot or complete adventure in and of itself. It can also be linked with previously released adventures Jailbreak and Wanted. The Frozen Throne will be a 5th edition adventure from Pennyblood Adventures that deals with a lost dwarven empire with a slumbering king lost to eternal winter. The Black Ballad, Chronicles of the Crossing, will be a 5th edition Purgatory setting, a campaign and setting guide along with novels about what happens after the adventurers die. Funky Fresh Fables will be a set of 3 horror-themed short adventures with an 80s theme for 5th edition. Each one is designed to be pretty generic with just general 5th edition compatibility installed. My Impish Little Storybook will be a 5th edition adventure seemingly designed and written by an infernal creature with a weird imagination, we shall see. Witchfire looks to be a dark fantasy RPG supplement for 5th edition, as well as Pathfinder, offering new witch classes, spells, crafting, and more. Necromancers of Monastis will be a unique class inspired by the Diablo franchise, a true summoner. It'll be 5th edition compatible as well as AD&D 2nd edition compatible. You don't see that much. Tome of Terrors Volume 7 will be a set of 3 new adventures for 5th edition, each one accompanied by a mini as well as a one-shot adventure. Neo-Goblins will be a 5th edition guide to making goblins a high-level threat and includes stat blocks, character options, magic items, spells, and more. Pocket Monsters Manual 1 will be a guide to monster taming and training with 150 plus unique monsters that can be captured, trained, and battled. I believe it's compatible with 5th edition. A Nightlife Manual will be a 5th edition guide to exploring the night with a guide to mysteries and PC events, locations, nocturnal creatures, etc. The Deck of Dynamic Dungeons will be a 5th edition dungeon crawl in deck form meant to create and then explore and loot dungeons on the fly. A Tome of Consumables for D&D will be exactly what it says on the tin, a group of potions, poisons, meals, and so forth, compatible with 5th edition. 313 Dark Magic Items will be a collection of dark magical items for 5th edition and other tabletop RPGs. Something tells me there's 313 of them in there. A Temple of the Green Devil will be a deluxe edition of a Death Trap dungeon inspired by RPG tournaments adventures from the 70s and 80s for the Shadow Dark RPG. Willstrom's Gazetteer of Wondrous Locations will be a collection of 8 wondrous locations for any campaign setting in any fantasy RPG. No Place Like Homebrew will be a guidebook to building a world with many locations and PCs and factions. This one's suited for 5th edition, but also similar systems. Populated Hexes Monthly, issue number 39, will be another entry into that zine series. This one will focus on a shadowed city and be the first part of 2. Downcrawl, 2nd edition, will be a tabletop RPG toolkit for exploring a weird underworld of subterranean cities, fungal gods, and so forth. Conan, the Hyborian Age, will be the next entry into the official Conan, basically the next official Conan licensed RPG. Be from Monolith, and yeah, basically start out a new issue. Bye bye Modifius. Hello Monolith. Terry Pratchett's Discworld will be an RPG set on Terry Pratchett's Discworld with its own system, officially licensed and set in its most recognizable city. Not even going to try and pronounce that name as Ankh-Morphak or something like that. Anyway. Rue from Ruin will be a tabletop RPG featuring lone werewolves suited for solo werewolf roleplaying. Ars Magica Definitive Edition will be attempting to find a deluxe edition with a core rulebook, various support material, and so forth for the classic Magic system, or Magic RPG. Spine Tinglers will be an all-ages horror role-playing game designed for zero prep and one-shots inspired by things like Goosebumps, scary stories to tell in the dark, and so forth. The Howl of the Chimeras will be a Victorian-era scenario for Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. Licensed by Chaosium, it'll have little presence of the Cthulhu mythos, instead focusing on, different, versions of that horror. Tethered Flesh will be a dark fantasy body horror RPG featuring a setting dominated by enigmatic celestial architects that have built big monolithic structures. Finally, there is Avalon Rising, a tabletop RPG set in a sprawling megacity that is failing with energy leaks causing chaos, and its citizens just trying to survive the various anomalies that's caused. It's inspired by 80s era sci-fi. And on that note, I will wrap things up here. This has been the RPG Crawler, my RPG News Roundup for October 19th, 2024. As always, links will be below. If you like what you see, remember to leave a like, commenting on any feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. Sorry for the kind of speed run here. I got to settle down and start getting some stuff done, so trying to get this out. Until next time, take care and goodbye.
And if you are still watching, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my supporters, the top tiers of which are listed on the screen, without whose support I would not have been able to offer the variety of content that I have on this channel throughout the years. If you're feeling particularly generous and would like to join them, you can support the channel. There are a variety of options to do so. I have a Patreon, a Subscribestar, as well as channel memberships enabled. If you are not in a position to contribute, simply leaving a like, a comment, or sharing my videos are all wonderful ways to help the channel grow without spending a dime, and are all greatly appreciated.